Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 3, 2021. The Siskiyou National Forest swallowed the last of the sunlight, its firs and cedars casting jagged shadows under a blood-red sky. Travis Milner, a 35-year-old firefighter from Medford, hacked through the underbrush, his boots sinking into the soggy earth. He was 3 miles off any marked trail, chasing the kind of quiet you only find where the world forgets you exist. The air was thick, reeking of pine and rot, and the silence pressed against his ears like a living thing, watchful and unyielding. Should have stayed on the damn path, Travis muttered, his voice flat, eaten up by the trees. His flashlight bobbed, catching a glint of something unnatural, a flicker of yellow through the ferns. His pulse quickened. Abandoned gear? A ranger post? He pushed forward, branches clawing at his jacket, until the shape loomed clear. A school bus. Rusted to hell, half drowned in moss and vines, it sagged into the dirt like a beast left to die. The number 57 clung faintly to its side, nearly erased by decades of rain and neglect. Cracked windows gaped like empty sockets, their edges sharp and glinting in the fading light. Travis froze, his breath hitching. "What in God's name?" he whispered. He circled the wreck, boots crunching on pine needles. No tire tracks. No trail wide enough for a bus this size. It was as if the forest had opened its jaws and dragged it down. The door hung crooked, swollen with damp, creaking in the breeze. He touched the metal, cold as a grave, and a shiver slithered through him. Something was wrong, the kind of wrong that makes your bones ache. "All right, Milner," he said, forcing a chuckle. "Don't lose your shit." He gripped the door and pulled. It resisted, groaning, then screeched open, the sound ripping through the silence like a scream. A cloud of dust and mildew poured out, choking him. He coughed, shielding his mouth, and peered into the gloom. The inside was a crypt. Seats were torn, vinyl peeling like dead skin. Ivy snaked through shattered windows, strangling rusted frames. Moldy backpacks slumped against seats, zippers caked with grime. A Letterman jacket, embroidered with cedar hollow high, hung limp from a headrest. On the floor, a warped cassette player lay beside faded Polaroids, their faces blurred into ghosts. Travis stepped inside, his boots thudding too loudly, each sound a violation of the stillness. Then he saw it at the back, under a collapsed luggage rack, a circle of bones, human bones. Skulls, ribs, femurs, arranged with sickening precision, like some pagan altar. His stomach lurched. "Jesus," he gasped, stumbling back. His foot caught on something, a cracked VHS camcorder, its lens staring up like a blind eye. He knelt, hands trembling, and lifted it. The tape inside was warped but intact, and then, impossibly, it whirred to life. A guttural whisper hissed from the speaker, "The forest needs you." The voice was wrong, not human, not entirely. It crawled into his skull, cold and relentless, like frost on bare skin. The camcorder sputtered, the whisper growing louder, "The forest needs you." Travis dropped it, the clatter deafening. His heart slammed against his ribs as he fumbled for his phone, fingers slick with sweat. 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice was steady, a tether to sanity. "I found a bus," Travis stammered, voice cracking. "In the Siskiyou forest, off-trail, there's bones, human bones, and this camcorder it's talking, but there's no battery. I swear, something's moving in here." "Sir, stay calm," the operator said. "Can you give me your location?" "Miles from the trailhead, near Rogue River." "I don't, hold on." A shadow flickered beyond the rear window, quick and gone. He spun, flashlight beam trembling, but the trees stood still, their branches like claws. "Hurry," he whispered. "Please." The call died, static buzzing in his ear. He backed toward the door, eyes locked on the bones. That's when he spotted a manila folder, waterlogged but intact, shoved under the driver's seat. He snatched it, flipping it open. Inside were charcoal sketches, signed, Emily T. in neat cursive. One showed faceless figures circling a fire, hands raised. Another depicted blood dripping from branches, pooling into a circle on the forest floor. Strange symbol, sharp, angular, scrawled in the margins, alien and menacing. He stuffed the folder into his backpack, his pulse a drumbeat. The air thickened, the forest's silence now a suffocating weight. Then, from the back of the bus, a faint shuffle, metal creaking under footsteps. He froze, flashlight sweeping the seats. "Who's there?" he called, voice brittle. No answer. Just that whisper again, not from the camcorder now, but from the air itself. "Stay." Travis bolted, scrambling out and sprinting through the underbrush, branches slashing his face. He didn't stop until he hit a clearing, chest heaving, the forest looming behind him like a predator. He didn't know it yet, but he just ripped open the scar of Cedar Hollow's darkest secret, the lost class of '99. By midnight, the site was a chaos of flashing lights and radio static. Sheriff Emily Wells, a tough-as-nails woman pushing 40, stood at the edge of the cordoned-off area, her jaw clenched. Cedar Hollow was a speck of a town, 5,000 souls clinging to the edge of the Siskiyou forest. Once a logging hub, now it scraped by on tourism and faded dreams, haunted by a wound that never healed. 22 years ago, 27 seniors from Cedar Hollow higher classmate Chad vanished on their graduation trip. No trace, no answers, just a bronze plaque by the school's front doors. Gone, but never forgotten. Class of 1999. Emily adjusted her Stetson, her flashlight slicing through the fog. "This better not be some sick joke," she muttered to Deputy Ruiz, a rookie with a face pale as the moon. "No joke, Sheriff," Ruiz said, nodding toward the bus. "Forensics is losing it. Those bones, they're arranged, like a damn cult thing." Emily's gut twisted. She'd been a junior in '99, too young for the senior trip but old enough to carry the guilt of staying behind. She could still see Lacey Monroe's perfect ponytail, Jared Field's goofy grin, Tyrese Hall's victory laps after a game. They were her people, and now, here they were, pieces of them. She ducked into the bus, the air heavy with rot. The forensic team was bagging evidence, moldy backpacks, a graduation cap, a Cedar Hollow Letterman jacket. Emily's eyes locked on the circle of bones, 17 skulls, their empty sockets staring. Her throat tightened. 17, she said. Trip had 27 kids, 2 teachers, 1 driver. "Where's the rest?" "Sheriff," a tech called, holding up Travis's folder. "You gotta see this." Emily took it, flipping through Emily Tran sketches. The faceless figures, the bleeding trees, the symbols, they hit her like a fist. Emily Tran was the quiet kid, always sketching, her eyes somewhere else. These weren't doodles, they were warnings. "Bag it," Emily snapped. "And get that camcorder to the lab. I want to know why it's talking without power." Her radio crackled. "Sheriff, we got a civilian at the tape. Reporter, won't budge." Emily sighed. "Let me guess, Sarah Klein?" Sarah Klein was Cedar Hollow's resident troublemaker. A 40-year-old journalist with a knack for sniffing out secrets, she'd been obsessed with the class of '99 since her days at the Cedar Hollow Courier. Her early articles, wild theories about cults, lights in the woodshed, ruffled feathers, especially with the mayor. They'd cost her a job. Now she freelanced, her tiny apartment a maze of files and post-its. When the bus hit the police scanner, she'd floored her beat-up Jeep, tires screaming over gravel. "Emily, come on," Sarah said, leaning against the police tape, red hair yanked into a messy bun. "You know I'm not leaving till you talk." Emily crossed her arms. "You're trespassing, Klein." "Go home." "No way." Sarah shot back, green eyes glinting. "That's the '99 bus, isn't it? I've been screaming for years something messed up happened out here, and nobody cared. Now you've got bones in a creepy-ass bus in the middle of nowhere. Give me something." Emily wavered. She and Sarah went way back high school, when Sarah ran the school paper and Emily snuck beers at bonfires. Not friends, but not strangers. "Off the record," Emily said. "We found remains, 17, and sketches. That's it." Sarah's eyes widened. "Sketches? Like, whose?" Emily shook her head. "Go home, Sarah." "I'm serious." But Sarah was already scribbling, her mind on fire. She'd spent 2 decades chasing this case, talking to parents, chasing dead ends, even getting a typed note in 2000, "Stop looking." It had scared her off then. Not now. Now she was all in. Travis sat in the sheriff's office, a styrofoam cup of coffee shaking in his hands. The whisper from the camcorder wouldn't leave him, nor would the image of those bones. "I'm telling you, Sheriff," he said, voice raw. "That biscuit's not right. It's like the forest wanted me to find it." Emily leaned back, eyeing him. Travis was solid 6'2", built like a tank, not the type to jump at shadows. But his eyes were wild, haunted. "You saying the forest set you up?" she asked, half dubious. "I don't know," Travis said, scrubbing his buzzed head. "But that camcorder, it shouldn't have worked. And those sketches, whoever drew them knew something bad was coming." Emily nodded, thinking of Emily Tran's drawings. She'd known her, not closely, but enough to recall her quiet intensity. Those sketches weren't art, they were screams on paper. But screaming what? "Get some rest, Travis," she said. "We've got this." He stood, hesitant. "Sheriff, watch yourself out there. That place, it's not just trees." Sarah didn't go home. She drove to the Cedar Hollow Library, a crumbling brick building that smelled of dust and old dreams. The librarian, Mrs. Delaney, was locking up, but Sarah slipped her a 20. "10 minutes, she begged. "I need the archives." Mrs. Delaney sighed. "You're gonna get yourself in trouble, girl." "Wouldn't be the first time," Sarah said, grinning. She darted to the microfiche machine, pulling up courier issues from 1999. Headlines blared, 27 seniors vanish in Siskiyou Forest. Search yields nothing for Cedar Hollow teens. But a small piece from July 99 stopped her cold. Forest Service notes strange activity near Rogue River. It mentioned lights, odd noises, and a restricted zone closed in the 70s for safety concerns. No details, just a hint of federal involvement. Sarah's heart raced. She dug deeper, finding a declassified file from 1970, blurry on the screen. It outlined Project Siskiyou, a government program for psychological operations in the forest. Shut down. After unexplained incidents, the area was sealed. "What were you bastards doing?" she muttered. The library's lights flickered, a low buzz humming through the walls. Sarah glanced up, her skin prickling. The windows were black, mirroring her face. Then, a shadow slid past quick, outside the glass. She spun, pulse hammering, but the lot was empty. "Chill, Klein," she told herself, grabbing her notes. The microfiche machine whirred back on, unprompted. The screen flickered, showing one line from the 1970 file. "The forest does not forget." Sarah froze, her breath shallow. The lights died, plunging the room into darkness. And then, soft but unmistakable, a whisper curled through the air. "Don't dig too deep." Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 4, 1999. The halls of Cedar Hollow High School buzzed with the electric chaos of senior week. Lockers slammed, sneakers squeaked on linoleum, and Green Day's Good Riddance blared from a boombox in the parking lot. It was the last Friday before graduation, and the class of '99 was high on freedom. Tomorrow, 27 seniors would pile into a yellow school bus for their big tripod weekend of camping in the Siskiyou National Forest, a final middle finger to curfews and calculus. No parents, no rules, just them in the wild. Lacey Monroe glided through the crowd, her ponytail bouncing, a folder of speech notes clutched to her chest. Valedictorian, student council president, future Stanford star, she was the golden girl, Cedar Hollow's pride. But her smile was tight, her eyes darting. Last night, she'd locked herself in the bathroom, hyperventilating over her speech. "You're fine, Lacey," she muttered now, dodging a flying paper airplane. "Just don't screw this up." Jared Fields, all gangly limbs and bad haircut, darted into the AV room, camcorder in hand. "Day 147 of the Jared Fields Chronicles," he announced to no one, panning across the chaos. The class clown, he was loud, obnoxious, and secretly sharper than he let on. This trip's gonna be my masterpiece, he said, zooming in on a cheerleader. Blair Witch, but with better hair. Tyrese Hall loomed over the hallway, his linebacker frame parting the crowd like Moses. A full-ride scholarship to Oregon State had his name on it, but his grin hid a gnawing fear. What if college chewed him up? What if his best days were already behind him? Yo, Jared, he called, tossing a football. Film me, not the pom-poms. In a quiet corner, Emily Tran sat cross-legged, her sketchbook open, her pencil scratched softly, drawing a forest symmetries bleeding red, faces hidden in shadows. She was the ghost of the class, barely speaking, her dark eyes always elsewhere. It's in my dreams, she murmured, tracing a strange symbol. Nobody heard her. Nobody ever did. Milo Carver, wiry and intense, leaned against a locker, flipping through a tattered book on Pacific Northwest myths. The weird kid, he was obsessed with the occult, always rattling off tales of the Siskiyou entity. This trip's a bad idea, he said to Rachel McClure, who was doodling on her Converse. That forest, it's not just trees. Rachel, all ripped jeans and attitude, rolled her eyes. Chill, Milo. It's camping, not a horror flick. But her smirk faded when she glanced at the substitute bus driver, Harold Griggs, lurking by the office. Griggs was new in town, his face gaunt, his eyes cold as river stones. That guy's creepy, she muttered. Swear he was staring at me yesterday. The final bell rang, and the school erupted. Kids spilled into the parking lot, high-fiving, planning bonfires. Permission slips were stuffed into backpacks, and the air crackled with the promise of tomorrow. Lacey caught Rachel's eye across the lot. You're not bailing, right? She called. Rachel grinned, flipping her off. Wouldn't miss it, princess. But as the sun sank, a shadow lingered. Griggs stood by the bus, his fingers tracing a necklacey wooden pendant carved with a jagged symbol. Nobody noticed, nobody cared. They were too busy dreaming of freedom. June 5, 2021. Sarah Klein's Jeep rattled down Cedar Hollow's main drag, the radio spitting static. She hadn't slept since the library last night, that whisper, "Don't dig too deep," still slithering through her head. Her notebook was open on the passenger seat, scribbled with fragments, Project Siskiyou, 1970, Lights and Woods. Emily Tran sketches. She was chasing a ghost story, and it was chasing her back. She pulled up to a craftsman bungalow on Elm Street, its paint peeling like old skin. Irene Monroe, Lacey's mom, lived here, a woman frozen in 1999. Sarah had interviewed her a dozen times over the years, each visit a knife to the gut. But after the bus discovery, she needed answers. Irene opened the door, her face hollow, eyes red. Sarah, she said, voice flat. You heard about the bus. Yeah, Sarah said, stepping inside. The living room was a shrine to Lacey photos, trophies, a prom dress preserved in plastic. I'm so sorry, Irene, but I need to talk. About Lacey. About the trip. Irene's hands trembled as she sank onto the couch. She's not gone, she said, almost a mantra. I know it. I feel it. She reached for a shoebox, pulling out an old flip phone. This was hers. Last week, it turned on by itself. Look. Sarah took the phone, her pulse quickening. A text glowed on the cracked screen. Don't find us. No sender, no date. Irene, she said carefully, this could be a glitch, or a prank. It's her, Irene snapped, eyes blazing. She's out there, Sarah. You have to believe me. Sarah nodded, pocketing her skepticism. She'd seen too much in the last 24 hours to dismiss anything. Okay, she said, tell me about the trip, anything you remember. Irene's voice softened, lost in memory. Lacey was so excited. She packed her sleeping bag, her Walkman. Said she'd call from the campground. But that night, I got a voicemail. Just static, then, her voice. Mom, something's wrong, then nothing. Sarah scribbled furiously. Did she mention anyone? The driver? Maybe? Griggs, Irene said, spitting the name. Harold Griggs. Came out of nowhere, filled in last minute. I never liked him. His eyes, they were empty. June 5, 1999. The bus roared out of Cedar Hollow at 7 a.m., its yellow paint gleaming under a cloudless sky. 27 kids piled in, backpacks stuffed with Doritos and sleeping bags. Jared was filming, narrating like Spielberg. "Behold, the great exodus of '99, he crowed, panning to Tyrese, who was flexing for the camera. "Save some tape for the babes, Fields," Tyrese laughed, tossing a football to Milo, who fumbled it. "Shut up," Milo muttered, clutching his myth book. He leaned toward Emily, whispering, "You see Griggs's necklace? It's got the same symbol as my book." Emily's pencil paused, her eyes flickering. "Don't talk about it," she said, voice low. "Not here." Rachel, sprawled across 2 seats, popped her gum. "Y'all are so paranoid. It's a necklace, not a bomb." But she glanced at Griggs in the driver's seat, his hands tied on the wheel, muttering to himself. She pulled out her mini recorder, a habit from her zine days, and hit record. "Just in case," she whispered. Lacey sat up front, rehearsing her speech under her breath. Don't choke," she murmured. She caught Griggs's eye in the rearview mirror and flinched. His stare was too long, too heavy. "Hey, Mr. Griggs," she said, forcing a smile. "How long till the campground?" "Few hours," he grunted, his voice like gravel. "Roads get tricky out here." The bus wound deeper into the Siskiyou, pavement giving way to gravel, then dirt. The forest closed in, trees towering like sentinels. Jared panned his camcorder, joking, "If we die, this is evidence." The others laughed, but Milo's face was grim. "Dude, relax," Tyrese said, nudging him. "What's the worst that could happen? Bears?" "Not bears," Milo said, flipping open his book. "The Siskiyou entity. Old stories say it lives in these woods, needs blood to stay awake." Rachel snorted. "You're so full of it." But she hit record again, catching Griggs' low mutter. "The forest will choose." June 5, 2021. Travis Milner couldn't sleep. His Medford apartment felt too small, the walls pressing in. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that bus, those bones, that whisper, "The forest needs you." He sat on his couch, a Coors in hand, staring at the manila folder he'd kept a sketch from Emily Tran's drawing of blood-dripping trees. It wasn't just creepy, it was alive, like it was watching him. His phone buzzed Sheriff Wells. "Travis," she said, her voice tight. "You doing okay?" "No," he said, blunt. "I keep hearing that damn whisper, and I found something else out there, near the bus. Didn't tell you last night." A pause. "What?" "A necklace," he said. "Wooden, carved with some weird symbol, like the ones in those sketches." "Bring it in," Wells said. "Now." He grabbed his keys, the necklace in his pocket. Driving through Cedar Hollow, the town felt off too quiet, the streetlights flickering. He passed the high school, its plaque glinting in the dark. Class of 1999. His skin prickled. He'd grown up here, knew the stories. Kids said the forest took those seniors, that their ghosts still wandered. He'd laughed it off. Not anymore. At the station, Wells was waiting, her Stetson on the desk. She took the necklace, turning it over. The symbol a jagged spiral matched Emily's sketches. "Where exactly did you find this?" she asked. 20 feet from the bus, Travis said. "Half buried, like it was meant to be found." Wells's jaw tightened. This doesn't add up. No roads, no tracks, and now this. That bus didn't crash. It was placed there. Travis leaned forward. "Sheriff, what happened to those kids?" "Everyone says they vanished, but what do you know?" She sighed, her eyes distant. "I was a junior in '99. Knew them all. Lacey, Jared, Tyrese, Emily. They were headed to a campground, but never made it. Search teams found nothing, no bus, no bodies. Just a camera in the mud, empty. And a letter, sent to one kid's parents. We made it. Stop looking." But it wasn't right. Handwriting was off, like someone faked it. Travis's mouth went dry. "And now we've got bones and a talking camcorder. You think it's..." What? A cult? I don't know, Wells said. But those sketches, they're not just art. Emily Tran saw something, or knew something. June 5, 1999. The bus lurched, its engine sputtering. Griggs cursed, pulling over on a dirt road, the forest swallowing them whole. Stay put, he growled, climbing out to check the hood. The kids groaned, restless. Great, Jared said, filming the chaos. Stranded in nowhere, Oregon, Oscar-worthy. Lacey stood, her voice sharp. Everyone, chill, he'll fix it. But her hand shook. She glanced at Rachel. You got a signal? Rachel checked her flip phone. Nada. We're in a dead zone. Milo was flipping through his book, frantic. Guys, listen. This symbol. He held up a page, showing a spiral like Griggs's necklace. It's in old stories. Blood rituals. Forest spirits. We need to get out of here. Shut up, Milo, Tyrese snapped. You're freaking everyone out. Emily closed her sketchbook, her voice barely audible. He's not wrong. The forest, it's awake. Rachel laughed, but it was forced. She hit record, whispering, if Milo's right, I'm not dying without proof. She leaned toward Lacey. You see Griggs out there? He's not fixing anything, he's just standing. Lacey peered through the window. Griggs was by the trees, his head tilted, like he was listening. The necklace glinted in the sun. Maybe he's calling for help, she said, but her voice wavered. Then the air shifted heavy, electric. Shadows moved in the forest, quick and silent. Jared lowered his camcorder. You guys see that? Before anyone could answer, figures emerged, 6, maybe 7, in gray cloaks, faces hidden. Griggs turned, his smile cold. They're here, he said. The kids froze, the bus suddenly too small, too exposed. Rachel's recorder caught her whisper, what the hell is this? Lacey grabbed her hand, her nails digging in. Emily stared out the window, her face blank, like she'd been expecting them. One cloaked figure stepped forward, voice low and smooth. Welcome, it said. The forest has chosen you. June 5, 2021. Sarah left Irene's house, her head spinning. That text, don't find us, was no glitch. She drove to the edge of town, where the forest loomed like a wall. Her Jeep's headlights caught something, a figure, quick, darting into the trees. She slammed the brakes, heart pounding. Hey, she yelled, but the woods were silent. Her phone buzzed an anonymous text, stop digging, Klein, or you're next. She stared at it, her hand shaking. She'd gotten a note like this before, in 2000. Back then, she'd backed off, scared. Not this time. She floored it to the library, sneaking in after hours with a spare key from her old reporting days. The microfiche machine hummed as she pulled up more files. A 1970 report on Project Siskiyou mentioned psychological anomalies in subjects reporting voices. The project was shut down, the forest sealed. Voices, she muttered. Like that damn camcorder. The lights flickered, the air growing cold. She glanced at the window, her reflection pale. Then, a shadow moved outside, too close. She grabbed her notes, backing toward the door. The microfiche screen blinked, showing a new line. The chosen never leave. Sarah froze, her breath shallow. Footsteps echoed outside, slow and deliberate. She reached for the door, but the knob wouldn't turn. And then, from the darkness beyond the glass, a whisper slithered through. Emily knows. Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 10, 2021. The Cedar Hollow police station was a squat brick building, its fluorescent lights buzzing like a dying insect. Inside, the air was thick with coffee and tension. Sheriff Emily Wells leaned against the front desk, her Stetson tipped back, eyes narrowed at the man who'd just walked in. He was gaunt, his face, a map of shadows, his tattered jacket hanging off a frame that looked one gust away from collapsing. Long, greasy hair clung to his cheeks, and his eyes wild, bloodshot-ed like a cornered animal's. In his trembling hands, he clutched a wooden mask, its surface carved with jagged, spiraling symbols that matched Emily Tran's sketches. I'm Jared Fields, he said, voice barely above a whisper. Class of '99. The room froze. Emily's breath caught, her mind flashing to 1999 Jared's goofy grin, his camcorder always rolling, his voice echoing in the halls of Cedar Hollow High. He'd been one of the 27 who vanished, a ghost etched into the town's bronze plaque. Now, here he was, flesh and bone, but wrong like the forest had chewed him up and spat out something broken. Jared? Emily said, stepping forward, her boots thudding on the linoleum. That really you? He nodded, eyes flicking to the door. I wasn't supposed to come back, he mumbled. They're still watching. A chill snaked down Emily's spine. Who's watching? She asked, her voice sharp but steady. Jared shook his head, like shaking off a nightmare. I don't know. His grip tightened on the mask, knuckles white. I was never meant to leave, none of us were. Deputy Ruiz, hovering nearby, exchanged a glance with Emily. Sheriff, you want me to? Get him a chair, Emily cut in. And water, now. Jared sank into the seat, the mask clattering onto the desk. Emily studied him, her gut twisting. This wasn't the Jared she remembered, the kid who'd narrated mockumentaries and snuck beers at bonfires. This was a husk, haunted by something she couldn't name. Jared, she said, leaning closer, where have you been for 22 years? What happened to the others? His eyes flicked up, wide with terror. I can't. Not yet. They'll find me if I talk. He swallowed hard, voice dropping. But I had to come. When I heard about the bus, I knew they hadn't forgotten. Emily's jaw tightened. She needed answers, not riddles. Start talking, Jared, or I'm locking you up for obstructing a damn investigation. He flinched, hands trembling. Okay, he whispered. But you won't believe me. Nobody will. June 5, 1999. The Siskiyou forest was a labyrinth of shadows, its trees towering like silent judges. The yellow bus, number 57, sat dead on a dirt road, its engine silent. Inside, 27 seniors from Cedar Hollow High were restless, their laughter fading into unease. The cloaked figure, 7 of them, faces hidden, stood outside, their leader's voice slithering through the open door. The forest has chosen you, he'd said, and the words hung like a curse. Lacey Monroe gripped the seat in front of her, her nails digging into the vinyl. This is a joke, right? She whispered to Rachel McClure, her voice shaking. Some kind of prank? Rachel, her mini recorder still running, shook her head. Doesn't feel like a joke. She leaned toward Jared Fields, who was filming the figures with his camcorder, his hands unsteady. Yo, Spielberg, you getting this? Shut up, Jared hissed, zooming in. This is insane. His lens caught the leader's cloak, embroidered with that spiral symbol, the same one on Griggs' necklace. Tyrese Hall stood, his linebacker frame filling the aisle. Yo, Griggs, he shouted at the driver. What's this bullshit? Get us out of here. Harold Griggs turned, his smile cold, almost inhuman. No leaving, he said. Not now. He stepped off the bus, joining the cloaked figures, his necklace glinting in the sunlight. Milo Carver clutched his myth book, his voice frantic. I told you. The Siskiyou entity's real. These people, they're its servants. Chill, Milo. Rachel snapped, but her eyes were wide. She hit record, whispering, if we die, this is proof. Emily Tran sat alone at the back, her sketchbook open. Her pencil moved furiously, drawing the cloaked figures, the spiral symbol of fire in the forest. They're coming, she murmured, her voice eerily calm. The forest called them. Lacey spun toward her. Emily, what the hell are you talking about? Emily's eyes met hers, distant, like she was seeing something beyond the bus. You'll see, she said. Soon. The leader raised a hand, and the cloaked figures parted. Come, he said. The sanctuary awaits. The kids hesitated, but Griggs' stare and the glint of a blade in his hand pushed them forward. They shuffled off the bus, backpacks slung over shoulders, into the suffocating embrace of the forest. June 10, 2021. Sarah Klein's apartment was a war zone of papers and coffee mugs, the walls plastered with notes on the class of '99. She sat at her desk, laptop open, The anonymous text from last night glaring on her phone. Stop digging, Klein, or you're next. Her hand shook as she typed, pulling up a 1970s report on Project Siskiyou. The words swam: psychological anomalies, subjects hearing voices, program terminated after unexplained deaths. She slammed the laptop shut, her heart pounding. What were they doing out there? She muttered. Her phone buzzed Sheriff Wells. Sarah, get to the station. Now, we've got a witness. Who? Sarah asked, grabbing her keys. Jared Fields, Wells said. He's alive. Sarah's breath caught. Jared Fields, class clown, camcorder kid, one of the 27, she floored her Jeep, weaving through Cedar Hollow's quiet streets. The town felt wrong, like it was holding its breath. Streetlights flickered, and a shadow darted across the road, too quick to be human. She gripped the wheel, her pulse a drumbeat. Get it together, Klein, she told herself, but the forest loomed in her rearview mirror, its darkness creeping closer. At the station, she found Emily Wells and Jared in an interrogation room, the wooden mask on the table between them. Jared looked like a man who'd seen hell, his face pale, his eyes sunken. Sarah slid into a chair, notebook ready. Jared, she said, voice soft but firm. I'm Sarah Klein, Cedar Hollow Courier. I've been chasing your story for 20 years. What happened out there? Jared's eyes flicked to the mask, then to her. You won't believe me, he said, voice raw. Nobody does. Try me, Sarah said, leaning forward. Start with the bus. Jared took a shaky breath, his hands twisting together. It broke down, he said. Middle of nowhere, engine just died. Griggs said to wait, but then, they came. People in cloaks, calling themselves the Chosen, said they had a sanctuary, a place to escape the world. We were scared, no signal, no way out. So we followed them. Emily's jaw tightened. Followed them where? Deep in the forest, Jared said. Miles, maybe 10, there was this. Settlement, cabins, fires, more of them in cloaks. They gave us food, beds, said we were safe. But it wasn't right. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing on your chest. And the food, it tasted wrong, like it dulled you. Sarah scribbled, her pen flying. Drugged? Maybe, Jared said. Some kids, Milo, Rachel, they fought it, wanted to leave, but the Chosen, they had rules. Cleansing, they called it. Said we had to forget our old lives, our families. If you resisted. His voice cracked. I heard screams in the woods. Milo tried to run. I saw them drag him off. He didn't come back. Emily leaned forward, her voice hard. What about Lacey, Tyrese, Emily Tran? Jared's eyes darkened. Lacey tried to keep us together, but she was breaking. Tyrese fought hard, but they broke him too. Emily. He hesitated, glancing at the mask. She was different. She drew things, rituals, symbols. Like she knew what was coming. I thought she was scared, like us. But now, I'm not sure. Sarah's pen paused. Not sure. What's that mean? Jared shook his head. I can't. Not yet. They're still out there, watching. Emily slammed a hand on the table. Jared, 17 kids are dead. We've got bones, sketches, and a damn camcorder that talks without power. You're not walking out till you give me more. Jared flinched, his voice dropping to a whisper. I escaped in 2006, ran for days, hid in motels, backwoods towns. Kept quiet, thought they'd forget me. But when I heard about the bus, this mask started calling me. Like it wanted me back. Sarah's skin prickled. Calling you? Like, talking? Not words, Jared said. Feelings, dreams. I see them. Lacey, Rachel, all of them. They're not dead, not all of them. The forest, it keeps them. Emily stood, pacing. You're saying the forest is alive? I'm saying it's not just a forest, Jared snapped, his voice rising. It's something, and the Chosen, they serve it. June 10, 2021. Travis Milner couldn't shake the dreams. Every night since finding the bus, he saw them, the class of '99, their faces pale, their voices whispering, finish the circle. He sat in his truck outside the station, the wooden necklace in his hand, its spiral symbol glinting in the dashboard light. He'd meant to give it to Wells, but something stopped him, like the necklace didn't want to be let go. His phone buzzed a text from an unknown number. Don't trust him. No context, no name. He stared, his gut churning. Him who? Jared? Griggs? He shoved the phone in his pocket and headed inside, the necklace burning a hole in his jacket. At the station, he found Sarah and Wells with Jared, the air thick with tension. Travis, Wells said, nodding. You're just in time. Jared's telling us about a cult. Not a cult, Jared corrected, his voice shaky. Something older, the chosen. They've been in that forest for centuries. Those symbols, they're not just drawings, they're keys. Keys to what? Travis asked, his voice rough. Jared's eyes met his, haunted. To keeping it awake, the thing in the forest, it needs blood, lives. That's why they took us. Sarah's pen scratched furiously. And Emily Tran? You said she knew something. Jared hesitated, his hands trembling. Her sketches, they weren't guesses. She saw things, visions. The chosen treated her different, like she was special. I thought she was one of us, but... He trailed off, staring at the mask. I don't know anymore. Emily's radio crackled, breaking the silence. Sheriff, forensics got something from the bus. You're gonna want to see this. June 10, 2021. The forensic lab was a sterile room in the county building, 20 miles from Cedar Hollow. Emily, Sarah, and Travis crowded around a table, Jared trailing behind, the mask still in his hands. A tech, Dr. Patel, held up a metal box, rusted but intact, found buried near the bus. This was under a seat, Patel said. Took us hours to open without damaging it. Inside was a VHS tape, labeled Fields 99 in Jared's sloppy handwriting. Emily's stomach dropped. Play it, she said. The tech slid the tape into a dusty VCR, the screen flickering to life. Grainy footage showed the bus interior, kids laughing, Jared's voice narrating, day one of the great 99 adventure. The camera panned to Lacey, Tyrese, Rachel alive, vibrant. Then the footage cut to night, the bus stopped. Cloaked figures circled outside, their faces hidden. Jared's voice panicked. What the hell is this? The tape jumped, static hissing. Now it showed a clearing, lit by firelight. The kids were tied, kneeling in a circle. The chosen chanted, their voices low, guttural. Griggs stood at the center, holding a knife. And there, beside him, was Emily Tran, her face blank, sketching in her notebook as the chanting grew louder. Jared gasped, stumbling back. No, he whispered. She wasn't tied. She wasn't one of us. Sarah's eyes widened. She was with them. The tape flickered, the image warping. Emily Tran looked up, straight at the camera, her eyes black, endless. Her voice, soft but clear, cut through the static. The circle isn't done. The screen went black, but the VCR kept humming, a low whisper rising. She knows. Travis's hand went to the necklace, his heart pounding. What the hell was that? Emily turned to Jared, her voice like steel. You knew she was different. Why didn't you say? I didn't know, Jared shouted, tears streaming. I thought she was scared, like us. But she wasn't. She was part of it. Sarah grabbed the mask, holding it up. This came from them, didn't it? What does it do, Jared? Why is it calling you? Jared backed toward the door, his face a mask of terror. I can't stay here, he said. They'll find me. They always do. Emily lunged, grabbing his arm. You're not going anywhere till we... But Jared yanked free, bolting for the exit. The door slammed behind him, leaving the room in stunned silence. Emily cursed, radioing deputies to chase him. Sarah stared at the frozen VCR, Emily Tran's words echoing in her head. The circle isn't done. Travis pulled the necklace from his pocket, its symbol glowing faintly in the dim light. Sheriff, he said, voice low. We need to go back to that forest. Whatever's out there, it's not done with us. Emily nodded, her face grim. Tomorrow, she said. We're ending this. But outside, in the dark, a shadow moved, watching the station. And deep in the Siskiyou, the forest whispered, its voice a promise. She's waiting. Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 11, 2021. The morning sun barely pierced the fog that clung to Cedar Hollow, wrapping the town in a gray shroud. Sarah Klein sat in her Jeep outside the police station, her hands gripping a styrofoam coffee cup, her eyes bloodshot from a sleepless night. The VHS tape from yesterday, Emily Tran standing untied, sketching calmly while her classmates were bound, played on a loop in her mind. That image, paired with Jared Fields' panicked flight, had cracked something open, a truth too dark to grasp. Emily wasn't just a victim, she was something else. Sarah's phone buzzed, snapping her out of her haze. A text from Sheriff Emily Wells. Meet me at the station. We're hunting Jared. Bring your notes. Sarah tossed the cup onto the passenger seat, her notebook already open, scribbled with fragments, Emily's sketches, spiral symbols, Project Siskiyou, The Chosen. She floored the gas, the Jeep's tires spitting gravel as she sped through town. The Siskiyou forest loomed on the horizon, its shadows slithering closer, like it knew she was coming. Inside the station, Wells was a storm of motion, barking orders to deputies. Her Stetson sat crooked, her face etched with exhaustion and fury. Jared's gone to ground, she said, spotting Sarah. Deputies lost him last night near the old mill. He's scared, but he knows more than he's saying. Sarah dropped her notebook on the desk. He's not just scared, Emily. That Maskey said it was calling him. And that tape, Emily Tran wasn't a prisoner. She was part of whatever happened out there. Wells nodded, her jaw tight. I called in a favor with the county. Got a name, Mrs. Clara Hensley, Emily's old art teacher. She's retired, lives out by Rogue River. Might know something about those sketches. Sarah's pulse quickened. Let's go. Now. Travis Milner pushed through the station door, his face haggard, the wooden necklace still in his pocket. He hadn't slept either, his dreams flooded with the class of '99, their voices whispering, finish the circle. I'm coming, he said, voice rough. I found that necklace. I'm in this. Wells eyed him, then nodded. Fine, but you follow my lead, Milner. No hero bullshit. June 6, 1999. The Siskiyou forest was a maze of silence, its trees swallowing sound and light. The 27 seniors from Cedar Hollow High trudged through the underbrush, their backpacks heavy, their faces pale. The cloaked figures, the chosen, led them deeper, their gray robes blending with the fog. Harold Griggs walked at the rear, his knife glinting, his necklace a constant reminder of who held power. The kids were too scared to speak, their earlier bravado crushed by the forest's oppressive weight. Lacey Monroe clung to Rachel McClure's arm, her voice a whisper. This isn't right, she said, her ponytail limp with sweat. We need to run. Rachel's mini recorder was still running, hidden in her pocket. And go where? She hissed. We're miles from anything. These freaks know the woods better than us. Jared Fields gripped his camcorder, filming in bursts, his hands shaking. If we die, he muttered, this is evidence. He panned to Tyrese Hall, who was glaring at Griggs, fists clenched. Keep moving. Griggs barked, his voice like a lash. The sanctuary's close. Milo Carver stumbled beside Emily Tran, his myth book tucked under his arm. Emily, he whispered, you know what's happening, don't you? Those symbols in your sketches, they're the same as my book. Emily's eyes were distant, her sketchbook open as she walked, her pencil tracing spirals and bleeding trees. The forest speaks to me, she said, voice eerily calm. It's always spoken to me. Milo's face paled. What does it say? She looked at him, her gaze piercing. The circle must be complete. 27 lives, or it wakes hungry. Lacey overheard, her stomach lurching. Emily, what the hell? You're scaring me, said. Emily didn't answer, her pencil moving faster, sketching a firelit clearing, cloaked figures chanting. Rachel leaned closer, her recorder catching Emily's whisper, the forest chooses its own. The group reached a clearing, where crude cabins circled a stone altar, its surface stained dark. The chosen fanned out, their leader stepping forward. "Welcome," he said, voice smooth as oil. "Here, you'll be reborn. The forest demands sacrifice, but it gives life." "Herme." Yrs lunged forward, his voice booming. "Screw this. We're not your damn sacrifices." Griggs grabbed him, slamming him to the ground. The kids screamed, but the chosen closed in, blades drawn. Emily stood still, sketching, her face blank. Rachel's recorder caught her voice, soft and chilling. "It's already begun. Junons, 2021. Clara Hensley's house was a sagging cabin on the edge of Rogue River, its porch cluttered with wind chimes that clinked in the breeze. The retired art teacher, now in her 70s, opened the door, her eyes sharp despite her frail frame. "Sheriff Wells," she said, nodding. "Heard about the bus. Figured you'd come sniffing." Wells tipped her Stetson. "Mrs. Hensley, we need to talk about Emily Tran." Clara's face tightened. She led them inside, where the living room smelled of lavender and old books. A stack of student artwork sat on a table, Emily's sketches among them, trees with bleeding branches, faceless figures, those same spiral symbols. Emily was different, Clara said, sinking into a chair. Quiet, but intense. She'd draw in class, always forests, always those symbols, said they came to her in dreams. Sarah flipped through the sketches, her skin prickling. Dreams? Did she ever explain them? Clara shook her head. Not really. But once, she told me the forest was alive. Said it chose her when she was a kid, after she got lost out there for 2 days. Came back different. Her parents thought she was traumatized. I thought, maybe she saw something. Travis frowned, the necklace heavy in his pocket. Something like what? Clara's eyes flicked to him. The Siskiou's old, Mr. Milner, older than us, older than the tribes. Stories say, there's a presence out there, something that demands blood. Emily's sketches, they felt like warnings, or invitations. Wells leaned forward. Did she ever talk about a cult? People called the Chosen? Clara hesitated, then pulled a small sketch from the Pylea's spiral symbol, surrounded by cloaked figures. She drew this a week before the trip, said it was the truth. I didn't know what it meant, still don't. Sarah's pulse raced. These symbols, they're everywhere. On a necklace, a mask, the bus. What are they? Clara's voice dropped. They're keys, I think. To something we're not meant to understand. June 11, 2021. Travis drove back to Cedar Hollow, Wells and Sarah in the back seat, the sketches in a folder beside him. The necklace in his pocket felt heavier, like it was pulling him toward the forest. His dreams were worse now. Emily Tran's face, her eyes black, whispering, "You're part of it now." He gripped the wheel, his knuckles white. "Stop the truck," Sarah said suddenly, her voice sharp. They were on a back road, the forest closing in. There, look. A figure stood at the tree line, cloaked in gray, motionless. Travis slammed the brakes, his heart pounding. Is that one of them? Wells drew her sidearm, stepping out. Stay here, she ordered, but Sarah was already following, her phone recording. The figure vanished into the trees, leaving only a faint trail of crushed ferns. Wells cursed, holstering her gun. We're not chasing that, not without backup. End of fully. Sarah knelt, picking up a small object from the dirty wooden charm, carved with the spiral symbol. They're taunting us, she said, her voice trembling. They know we're digging. Travis touched the necklace in his pocket, his stomach churning. Or, they want us to find something. Back in town, they hit the station, where a deputy handed Wells a report. Forensics found something else near the bus, he said. A note, buried with that metal box, says, the circle needs 27. Second one. Sarah's eyes widened. 27, the number of kids on the trip. Wells nodded, her face grim. And we've only got 17 bodies, 9 kids, 2 teachers, and Griggs are still unaccounted for. Travis's hand went to the necklace, his voice low. Jared said Emily was different. What if she's still out there? June 12, 1999. The sanctuary was a prison of shadows, its cabins reeking of damp wood and fear. The Chosen kept the kids under watch, their cloaks rustling like whispers. Food was brought, gray, tasteless mush that dulled the mind. Lacey tried to rally the group, her voice cracking. "We stick together," she said. "We find a way out." Rachel nodded, her recorder hidden, catching the Chosen's chants at night, low, guttural, in a language she didn't know. "They're planning something," she whispered to Jared. "We need to move." Milo was frantic, his book open to a page on the Siskiyou entity. "It's a ritual," he said. "Blood to feed the forest. Emily, she knows. She's not fighting them." Emily sat apart, sketching by firelight, her hand steady. Rachel confronted her, voice low. "What's your deal, Tran? You're acting like you want to be here." Emily looked up, her eyes cold. "The forest chose me," she said. "It chose all of us. You can't fight it." Rachel's recorder caught her reply. "You're crazy." But Emily's sketch showed a circle of 27 figures, one standing apart, untouched by blood. June 11, 2021. Sarah couldn't sit still. She paced the station, her mind racing. The note, "The circle needs 27," was a bomb, blowing open every theory. She dug through her notes, finding a reference to a local legend, the Siskiyou entity, a force that demanded sacrifices every century. The symbols in Emily's sketches matched carvings found in 1800 settler journals, linked to missing pioneers. Wells burst in, holding a file. "County archives," she said. "Found reports of disappearances in the Siskiyou 1800s, 1920s, 1950s, all near that restricted zone from Project Siskiyou, all tied to circles of victims." Sarah's stomach dropped. "How many in each?" 27, Wells said. "Every time." Travis stood, his face pale. "So this isn't new. Whatever took those kids, it's been here forever." Sarah nodded, her voice urgent. "And Emily, she's the key. Her sketches, her dreams. She wasn't just a victim, she was chosen." "Yad." Wells grabbed her radio. "We're going back to the forest. Tonight, we find Jared, we find answers." But as they headed for the door, the station's lights flickered, a low hum rising. Sarah's phone buzzed an anonymous text. "Emily's waiting." She froze, her breath shallow. Outside, the fog thickened, and a distant chant echoed from the forest, low and guttural, like a heartbeat. They piled into Wells's cruiser, the necklace burning in Travis's pocket. As they sped toward the Siskiyou, the radio crackled, spitting static. Then, clear as day, Emily Tran's voice cut through. "The circle needs you." The cruiser's engine sputtered, and the headlights died, plunging them into darkness. From the trees, a cloaked figure stepped forward, its face hidden, a spiral symbol glinting in its hand. Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 11, 2021. The Siskiyou forest swallowed Sheriff Emily Wells's cruiser, its headlights dead, the engine silent. Inside, Wells, Sarah Klein, and Travis Milner sat frozen, their breath shallow in the suffocating dark. The cloaked figure stood motionless on the dirt road, its spiral-carved pendant glinting faintly, like a beacon from hell. Emily Tran's voice lingered from the radio, a chilling echo. "The circle needs you." The air was thick, electric, as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for blood. Wells gripped her sidearm, her voice low. "Stay put," she hissed, easing the door open. "I'm checking it out." Sarah grabbed her arm, eyes wide. "Emily, don't. That's one of them, the chosen. You saw what they did to those kids." Travis, his hand on the wooden necklace in his pocket, leaned forward. "She's right. We're sitting ducks here. We need to move." "Har." Wells shot him a look, her Stetson shadowing her face. "I said stay put, Milner. That's an order." She stepped out, her boots crunching on gravel, gun raised. The figure didn't move, its hooded face a void. "Identify yourself," she shouted, her voice slicing through the fog. No answer. Just a low hum, like a chant, rising from the trees. Sarah's phone buzzed, an anonymous text flashing. "You're too late." She gasped, showing it to Travis. His jaw tightened, the necklace burning against his thigh. "This isn't random," he whispered. "They want us here." Before Wells could advance, the figure stepped back, melting into the forest. The cruiser's headlights flickered on, the engine roaring to life. Wells dove back inside, slamming the door. What the hell was that? She panted, flooring the gas. The tires spun, kicking up dirt as they sped towards Cedar Hollow. Sarah clutched her notebook, her voice trembling. They're playing with us. That note, the circle needs 27. The tape, Emily's voice. They're not hiding anymore. Travis's eyes were haunted. Jared said Emily was different. What if she's not just part of it? What if she's running it? Wells's grip tightened on the wheel. We find Jared, we get answers, and I'm done playing games with this forest. June 12, 1999. The sanctuary in the Siskiyou forest was a nightmare carved from wood and shadow. The 27 seniors from Cedar Hollow High were herded into a central cabin, its walls etched with spiral symbols that seemed to pulse in the firelight. The chosen watched them, their cloaked forms silent, blades glinting at their sides. The air was heavy, reeking of fear and that strange, drugged mush they'd been fed. Lacey Monroe sat on the floor, her arms around Rachel McClure, whispering, "We're getting out, I promise." Rachel's mini recorder was hidden in her jacket, still running. "How?" she hissed. "They've got knives, Lacey, and Grigsby's one of them." Jared Fields crouched nearby, his camcorder tucked under his shirt, filming in secret. "I got some of it," he whispered. "The chance, the altar, if we get out, this'll bury them." Tyrese Hall, his face bruised from fighting Griggs, glared at the cloaked guards. "We rush him," he muttered. "All of us, together, it's our only shot." Milo Carver shook his head, his myth book clutched tight. "You don't get it, Tyrese. This isn't just people, the Siskiyou entity, it's real. Those symbols, the blood they're feeding it." "Shut up, Milo." Rachel snapped, but her voice cracked. She glanced at Emily Tran, who sat apart, sketching by the fire, her hands steady. "What's her deal? She's not even scared." Emily's pencil traced a circle of 27 figures, one standing alone, untouched by blood. She looked up, her eyes cold. "The forest needs us," she said, voice flat. "It's always needed us." Lacey crawled closer, her voice desperate. "Emily, stop it, you're freaking us out. Help us get out of here." Emily's gaze was distant, like she was seeing through them. "You can't run from the chosen," she said. "I tried. When I was a kid, it always brings you back." "Oh." Rachel's recorder caught her next words, barely audible. "She's not with us." She stood, confronting Emily. "What do you know, Tran? You're acting like you want this." Emily closed her sketchbook, her voice chilling. "The circle must close, or it wakes hungry." Before Rachel could respond, the cabin door slammed open. Harold Griggs entered, his necklace glinting, a knife in his hand. "Time," he said, his smile twisted. "The forest calls." The chosen grabbed Milo first, dragging him toward the altar outside. His screams echoed, then stopped abruptly. The kids froze, their hope shattering. Emily reopened her sketchbook, drawing Milo's face, blood pooling beneath it. Rachel's recorder caught her whisper. "The first. June 11, 2021. Cedar Hollow's police station was a hive of chaos, deputies scrambling to track Jared Fields. Sarah sat at a desk, her laptop open, digging through old Cedar Hollow Courier articles. She found a 1999 piece about Mayor Thomas Monroe Lacey's father shutting down questions about the class of '99. "No cult activity," he'd said, his words clipped. "Just a tragic accident." But a leaked memo, buried in county records, told a different story. Monroe had pressured the sheriff to bury reports of cloaked figures near the forest, citing town stability. Sarah's pulse raced. "Emily," she called, waving Wells over. "Look at this. Monroe knew something." He covered it up. Wells scanned the memo, her face darkening. "Thomas is retired now, lives out by the mill. We'll pay him a visit, but first." She held up a report from the county archives. More disappearances, 1820s, 1890s, 1950s. Always 27 people, always near that restricted zone from Project Siskiyou, and always those damn spiral symbols. Travis, leaning against the wall, spoke up, his voice rough. So this thing, whatever it is, has been eating people for centuries, and Emily Tran, she's its what, priestess? Sarah shook her head. Maybe. But Jared, he knew she was different and didn't tell us. Why? Wells's radio crackled. Sheriff, we found Jared. He's at the old quarry, ranting about the circle, wants to talk to you. Let's move, Wells said, grabbing her Stetson. Sarah, Travis, you're with me. Junons, 2021. The quarry was a scar on the edge of Cedar Hollow, its cliffs looming under a moonless sky. Jared Field stood on a ledge, the wooden mask in his hands, his face pale and wild. Deputies surrounded him, guns drawn, but Wells waved them back. Jared, she called, her voice steady. It's Emily. Come down. Talk to me. Jared's eyes darted, his voice shaking. I can't, Sheriff. They're here. In the trees, watching. Sarah stepped forward, notebook in hand. Jared, we saw the tape. Emily wasn't tied. She was with them. What didn't you tell us? Jared's face crumpled, tears streaming. I didn't know at first, he said. I thought she was like us, scared, trapped. But she helped them. She drew the rituals, told them who to take first. Milo, Rachel, she picked them. Travis's hand went to the necklace, his voice hard. Why didn't you stop her? I tried, Jared shouted. But the chosen, they broke us. The food, the chance, the dreams. I saw things, faces in the trees, blood in the dirt. I killed Milo. His voice broke, raw. They made me. Said it was him or me. I was a coward. Wells's jaw tightened. You killed him? Your friend? Jared nodded, sobbing. I didn't want to, but the forest, it gets in your head. Emily said it needed 27, but I ran. In 2006, I got out. Thought I was free. But this mask. He held it up, its symbols glinting. It never let me go. Sarah's eyes widened. What does it do, Jared? Why's it calling you? Jared's voice dropped to a whisper. It's a key. To the circle. To her. Travis stepped closer, his dreams flashing Emily's black eyes. Her voice. You're part of it now. Her? Emily's still out there, isn't she? Jared nodded, his face a mask of terror. She's not human anymore. The forest, it changed her. June 12, 1999. The altar in the sanctuary was slick with blood, Milo's body gone, dragged into the forest. The chosen chanted, their voices a guttural drone, the spiral symbols on their cloaks glowing faintly. Rachel McClure, her recorder still hidden, whispered to Lacey, we're next. We need to run. Lacey's eyes were wide, her voice breaking. They'll catch us. Greg, she's everywhere. Jared, his camcorder hidden, filmed the scene, his hands shaking. I'm getting this, he muttered. If we die, someone will find it. Tyrese, his fists clenched, glared at Emily Tran, who stood by the altar, sketching calmly. She's one of them, he hissed. Look at her. Emily's sketch showed the altar, 27 figures in a circle, blood pooling at their feet. She looked at Tyrese, her voice soft. You can't fight the forest. It's older than you. Rachel lunged, grabbing Emily's arm. You're helping them. Why? Emily pulled free, her eyes cold. Because I was chosen. When I was 8, I got lost out here. The forest found me, spoke to me. It needs us to keep it asleep. Rachel's recorder caught her reply. You're insane. But the chosen grabbed her, dragging her toward the altar. Her screams echoed, then stopped. Jared's camcorder caught Emily's face, blank, as she sketched Rachel's blood. Junons, 2021. Wells's cruiser sped toward Thomas Monroe's house, Sarah and Travis silent in the back. The memo about Monroe's cover-up burned in Sarah's mind. He knew, she said, voice low. Lacey's dad knew about the chosen and buried it. Wells nodded, her face grim. Thomas always cared more about the town than the truth, but he's got answers, and I'm getting them. They pulled up to a sprawling ranch house, its windows dark. Monroe, now in his 60s, opened the door, his face pale. "Sheriff," he said, voice tight. "Late for a social call." "No social," Wells said, stepping inside. "We found the bus, Thomas. 17 kids dead, and a memo saying you shut down reports of cloaked figures in '99. Why?" Monroe's eyes darted, his hands shaking. "I was protecting Cedar Hollow. People were scared, talking about cults. I couldn't let the town fall apart." Sarah slammed her notebook down. "You let 27 kids die, your daughter, Lacey. You knew something was out there." Monroe sank into a chair, his voice breaking. "I didn't know. Not then. But after. Someone left a note on my porch. Said Lacey was chosen, that I'd lose everything if I kept digging. I was scared." Travis's hand went to the necklace, his voice hard. "Scared enough to bury the truth?" Monroe nodded, tears streaming. "I'm sorry. I thought she was gone, but now, I keep hearing her voice. At night, from the forest." June 11, 2021. Back at the station, Wells got a call from a deputy at the quarry. "Sheriff, Jared's gone. Left the mask behind, with a note, find the cave." Sarah's eyes widened. "Cave? Like in Emily's sketches?" Travis pulled the necklace out, its symbol glowing faintly. "Jared said it's a key. Maybe it opens something out there." Wells grabbed her radio. "We're hitting the forest, full team, now." But as they geared up, Sarah's phone buzzed again. "She's waiting." She showed it to Wells, her voice trembling. "Emily's alive. I know it." They piled into the cruiser, driving toward the Siskiyou. The forest loomed, its shadows alive, whispering. Travis's dreams flashed Emily's face, her voice. "Finish the circle." He gripped the necklace, his heart pounding. The cruiser stopped near the bus site, the team fanning out. Travis led them to a hidden trail, guided by a pole he couldn't explain. They found a cave, its entrance carved with spiral symbols, glowing faintly in the dark. Wells raised her flashlight, her voice steady. "We go in, together." Inside, the air was cold, heavy, the walls pulsing with symbols. Sarah's flashlight caught something, a figure at the far end, cloaked, motionless. "Emily?" she whispered. The figure turned, revealing a face untouched by time. Emily Tran, her eyes black, endless. "You're late," she said, her voice a chilling echo. "The circle needs blood." End of. Travis stepped forward, the necklace glowing in his hand. "What are you?" Emily smiled, cold and ancient. "I'm the forest's voice. And you're the last." A shot rang out, blood splattering the cave floor, forming a circle. Sarah screamed, Wells's gun smoking. Emily didn't fall, her smile widening. From the shadows, cloaked figures emerged, chanting, their blades glinting. Cedar Hollow, Oregon, June 11, 2021. The cave in the Siskiyou forest pulsed with a malevolent rhythm, its walls carved with spiral symbols that glowed like dying embers. Sheriff Emily Wells stood frozen, her gun smoking, her bullet lodged in the cave floor where blood impossibly pooled into a perfect circle. Emily Tran, untouched by time, stood at the cave's heart, her black eyes gleaming with an ancient hunger. Her voice, cold as frost, echoed, "You're the last." Around her, cloaked figures of the chosen emerged from the shadows, their blades glinting, their chants a guttural drone that shook the air. Sarah Klein's scream still hung, raw and jagged, as Travis Milner clutched the glowing necklace, its spiral symbol burning in his hand. "Emily, stop this." Wells shouted, her Stetson falling to the dirt as she raised her gun again. "Whatever you are, this ends now." Emily's smile was a blade, sharp and cruel. "You can't stop the forest, Sheriff. It's older than your laws, older than your gods. It needs blood, and the circle demands 27. Sarah, her notebook trembling in her hands, stepped forward, voice shaking but defiant. "You're not a god, Emily. You're a kid from Cedar Hollow High. What did they do to you?" Emily's gaze locked onto her, piercing. "They didn't do anything. I was chosen. When I was 8, I wandered into these woods. The Siskiyou entity found me, spoke to me. It gave me purpose. The circle keeps it asleep. Without it, it wakes and it's hungry. Travis's heart pounded, his dreams flashing. Emily's face, the class of 99, their voices pleading, finished the circle. He held up the necklace, its glow pulsing in time with the cave's symbols. This is a key, isn't it? He said, voice rough. To what? To killing us? Emily's eyes flickered, almost human for a moment. To saving you, she said. The forest takes what it needs. I tried to warn them, Lacey, Rachel, Milo. But they fought. You can't fight the forest. The chosen advanced, their chants louder, the air thickening with a suffocating weight. Wells fired a warning shot, the crack echoing off the walls. Back off, she roared, or I drop every one of you. The figures paused, but Emily raised a hand, her voice calm. You can't kill what's already claimed. The circle is almost complete, one more life, and it sleeps for another century. And slew. Sarah's eyes widened, her mind racing through the evidence. 17 bodies in the bus, 9 kids and 2 teachers missing. Jared's confession about killing Milo. One more, she whispered. That's why Jared ran. He's the last. Travis's hand tightened on the necklace, its heat searing his palm. No, he said, stepping forward. It's me. I found the bus. I've been dreaming your voice, Emily. The forest wants me, doesn't it? Emily's smile faded, her eyes narrowing. You're stronger than I thought, she said. But the forest always gets what it wants. June 12, 1999. The sanctuary was a slaughterhouse now, the air thick with blood and fear. The chosen had taken Milo, then Rachel, their screams swallowed by the forest. The remaining seniors from Cedar Hollow High huddled in the central cabin, their faces pale, their hopes shattered. Lacey Monroe clutched Jared Fields, her voice a desperate whisper. We have to do something. They're picking us off one by one. Jared's camcorder was hidden under his jacket, still recording. I got enough, he hissed. If we get out, this'll nail them. Tyrese Hall, his knuckles bloody from fighting, glared at Emily Tran, who sat by the fire, sketching as if nothing was wrong. She's one of them, he growled. Look at her, she's not scared. Emily's pencil traced a spiral, her voice soft. The forest needs 27. It's the only way to keep it asleep. Lacey lunged, grabbing Emily's sketchbook. Stop it, she screamed, flipping through pages of bleeding trees, cloaked figures, and their own faces, blood pooling beneath them. You're helping them. Why? Emily's eyes were cold, ancient. I was chosen, she said. When I was a kid, I heard it, the Siskiyou entity. It needs blood, or it wakes and takes everything. Jared's camcorder caught her words, his hand shaking. You're insane, he said, but his voice cracked. The cabin door slammed open, and Harold Griggs entered, his knife dripping red. Next, he said, pointing at Tyrese. Tyrese fought, his fists swinging, but the chosen overwhelmed him, dragging him to the altar. His screams faded into the night. Lacey sobbed, clutching Jared. We're next, she whispered. Emily stood, her sketchbook falling to the floor. I'm sorry, she said, her voice barely audible. But the circle must close. Jared's camcorder caught one last image. Emily walking toward the altar, her face blank, as the chosen chanted, their blades raised. The tape cut to static, but a whisper lingered. One more. June 11, 2021. The cave's walls seemed to breathe, the spiral symbols pulsing faster, their glow casting eerie shadows. Sarah's flashlight trembled, catching Emily Tran's face unchanged, ageless, like a ghost trapped in time. Wells's gun was steady, but her voice shook. Emily, step back, now. Emily's smile returned, cold and knowing. You can't stop it, Sheriff. The forest has been here since the earth was young. It took settlers in the 1820s, loggers in the 1890s, soldiers in the 1950s. Always 27. Always blood. Sarah's mind raced, piecing together the evidence. The 1970s Project Siskiyou, shut down after unexplained deaths. The spiral symbols in settler journals. Jared's confession about killing Milo. You're not human, she said, voice trembling. The forest made you. What? Its priestess? Emily's eyes glinted. Its voice. Its keeper. I was 8 when it chose me. I tried to warn the others, but they wouldn't listen. Jared ran, but he's marked. Like you. Travis's hand burned, the necklace glowing brighter. His dreams flashed Lacey's face, Rachel's screams, Emily's voice. You're part of it now. What happens if the circle isn't complete? He asked, stepping closer. Emily's voice was a whisper, chilling. It wakes. And it takes everything, Cedar Hollow, Medford, the world. The circle is mercy. Wells's radio crackled, a deputy's voice cutting through. Sheriff, we found Jared. He's at the bus site, screaming about a cave. Says he's ending it. Sarah's eyes widened. He's going to finish the circle. Wells grabbed her arm. We move, now. But Emily raised a hand, and the cave trembled, rocks falling. The chosen closed in, their chants deafening. Travis lunged, shoving Sarah and Wells toward the entrance. Go, he shouted, holding up the necklace. I'll hold them off. Sarah screamed, Travis, no. But Wells dragged her out, the cave's mouth collapsing behind them. Dust choked the air, and Emily's voice echoed, the forest always wins. June 12, 2021. The bus site was a graveyard under the moonlight, the rusted wreck of number 57 looming like a corpse. Jared Fields stood in the clearing, the wooden mask in one hand, a knife in the other. His face was wild, tears streaming as he muttered, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Deputies surrounded him, guns drawn, but Wells waved them back. Jared, she shouted, her voice cutting through the fog, put the knife down. We're getting you out of here. Oh. Jared's eyes were frantic, darting to the trees. You don't get it, Sheriff. The circle, it's not done. I killed Milo, but it wasn't enough. Emily, she's still out there. She's always been out there. Sarah stepped forward, her notebook gone, her voice raw. Jared, we saw her. In the cave. She's not human. What did she do to you? Jared's laugh was broken, desperate. She didn't do anything. The forest did. It gets in your head, makes you see things, blood, faces, your friends dying. I ran, but it never let me go. This mask. He held it up, its symbols glowing. It's calling me back. To finish it. Wells's gun was steady. Finish what, Jared? Talk to me. The circle, he said, voice trembling. 27 lives. I'm the last. If I die, it sleeps. If I don't, he looked at the forest, his face pale. It wakes. Travis's absence gnawed at Sarah. Travis is in that cave, she said. He stayed to save us. We can't let him die. Jared shook his head. He's already gone. The forest took him the moment he found that bus. A low chant rose from the trees, the same guttural drone from the tape. Shadows moved, cloaked figures circling the clearing. Wells spun, her gun raised. Deputies, hold the perimeter, she shouted, but the radios crackled, spitting static. A deputy screamed, dragged into the dark, his gun firing uselessly. Sarah grabbed Jared's arm. You know where she is, don't you? Take us to her. Jared's eyes were wide, terrified. The cave, he said. It's where it lives. Where she lives. June 12, 2021. The cave was a wound in the earth, its entrance gaping, the spiral symbols glowing brighter now, like a heartbeat. Wells and Sarah, with Jared in tow, pushed through the collapsed entrance, their flashlights cutting through the dark. The air was cold, heavy, the chants echoing from deeper within. Jared clutched the mask, his voice a whisper. She's here, I feel it. They reached the central chamber, where Emily stood, her cloak discarded, her face ageless, her eyes black voids. The chosen surrounded her, their blades raised, their chants a relentless pulse. You came, Emily said, her voice a chilling melody. The circle closes tonight. Wells aimed her gun, her voice hard. Step back, Emily. This ends now. Emily laughed, soft and cold. You still think you have power here, Sheriff? The Siskiyou entity doesn't bow to bullets. It's been here since the mountains rose. It took me, made me its voice, and now, it takes you. Ah. Sarah's eyes darted, spotting Travis's backpack in a corner, the necklace glowing beside it. Travis, she shouted, but there was no answer. She turned to Emily, voice shaking. Where is he? Emily's smile was cruel. He's part of the circle now. Like Milo. Like Rachel. Like all of them. Jared dropped to his knees, sobbing. I killed Milo, he said. I was a coward, but I won't let it take them. He raised the knife, aiming it at his chest. No, Sarah screamed, lunging for him. But Emily moved faster, her hand closing around Jared's wrist, stopping the blade. Not you, she said. The forest wants another. The cave shook, rocks falling, the chants reaching a fever pitch. Wells fired, her bullet grazing Emily's shoulder, but no blood came. Emily laughed, her eyes glowing. You can't kill the forest. Travis's voice cut through the chaos, weak but alive, from a side tunnel. Sarah, the necklace, it's the key. He stumbled into the light, his face bloodied, the necklace in his hand. Burn it. Burn the cave. Sarah grabbed the necklace, its heat searing her palm. She pulled a lighter from her pocket, flicking it on. You sure about this? She shouted. Do it, Travis yelled, collapsing as the chosen closed in. Sarah tossed the necklace into a pile of dry vines, the flame catching instantly. The fire roared, the symbols on the walls flickering, then fading. Emily screamed, an inhuman wail, as the cave shook violently. Wells grabbed Sarah, pulling her toward the entrance. Move, she shouted. Jared stayed, his eyes fixed on Emily. I'm sorry, he whispered, driving the knife into his chest. Blood pooled, completing the circle. The cave exploded in light, the chants silenced, Emily's form dissolving into shadow. Jundu's 2021. Sarah and Wells stumbled out of the cave, coughing in the dust, the forest eerily silent. The fire had consumed the chamber, the symbols gone, the air lighter. But Travis was still inside, and Jared was gone. Sarah's hand shook, her notebook lost in the chaos. Did we stop it? She whispered. Wells's face was grim. I don't know, but we're alive. They drove back to Cedar Hollow, the town unnaturally quiet. The streets were empty, the houses dark, the streetlights dead. Sarah's Jeep was gone from the station lot. Where is everyone? She asked, her voice trembling. Wells's radio was silent, no response from deputies. They reached the high school, the bronze plaque for the class of '99 glinting in the moonlight. Sarah's eyes caught something, a yellow bus, number 57, parked across the street, its door open, inviting. No, Wells said, grabbing her arm. We're not going near that. But Sarah pulled free, her heart pounding. She found Lacey's notebook in her pocket, taken from Irene's house, its final page open, the forest never lets go. She looked at the bus, its windows dark, and heard a whisper, come. Wells drew her gun, her voice hard. Sarah, don't. But Sarah stepped forward, drawn to the bus. I have to know, she said. She climbed aboard, the door slamming shut behind her. Wells shouted, banging on the metal, but the bus was empty, silent. Then, from the forest, a cloaked figure emerged, its spiral pendant glinting. Cedar Hollow Courier, the 1st of July, 2021. The Siskiyou mystery remains unsolved. The bus of Cedar Hollow High's class of '99 was found with 17 bodies, but 9 students, 2 teachers, and driver Harold Griggs are still missing. Jared Fields, a survivor, was found dead near a cave, his death ruled a suicide. Sheriff Emily Wells has reopened the case, but reports of strange lights and chants in the forest persist. Irene Monroe, mother of missing student Lacey, insists her daughter is alive. She's out there, she says. I hear her voice. Last week, another disappearance. Journalist Sarah Klein, last seen near Cedar Hollow High. A yellow bus was reported on the outskirts, but no trace was found. The forest keeps its secrets, and Cedar Hollow waits, haunted by whispers that never fade.